public comment during the meeting, please make sure your computer or device has a working microphone. Use the chat feature to submit a request to make a comment. When the time comes to make public comments, you will be invited to speak. If you are participating via telephone to provide the public comment, you should have contacted the RTC agency services prior to 4 p.m. yesterday and provided the telephone number you would be calling from, as well as the items you want to comment on. When the time comes to make public comments, you'll be invited to speak. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Suting, the chair, to go through the rest of the agenda items.
Okay, number 3 is public comment. So public comment may pertain to matters both on and off the agenda. Comments are to be made to the committee as a whole and not to individual committee members or staff. Committee members may provide public comment. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes. Is there anybody on the call wanting to make public comment today?
I don't see anyone in the chat either, so no comments.
Okay. The next agenda item is to approve the June 5th and the July 2nd meeting minutes. If you do not have them handy in the agenda, they are in the packet link from the RTC website for the CMAC meeting.
Yeah, just a little correction. The July meeting was, I think, postponed to the July 10th. So there's a little note there.
And that will be corrected.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Any comments or discussion on the minutes as presented other than the date change?
This is Pana. I wanted to say thanks for the wonderful July minutes. I think for the June minutes, the very minor change I wanted to add was on item 5, just speaking only for myself, that I requested consideration of transit first alternatives to the South Meadows corridor alignment.
I'll make that correction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody else? Okay. Can I ask a question about the minutes and the recording, or should I wait until later?
Oh, that's fine.
I know we got an email asking if we wanted the recording, and I know that sometimes things get sent to spam, so I just wanted to check. Was the recording sent out or not yet?
You were the only one that requested the minutes be sent to you, and I did send it. I can send it again, though. I'll send that to you.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you not receive it?
I'm looking in the email and I have a request that I would like the materials and the recording to be sent. And I don't see it, but it doesn't mean you didn't send it. There's a lot of emails. Sometimes things are hard to find. So I just want to check.
Okay.
Thank you.
I apologize. I'll get it out to you as soon as possible.
Okay. And then we are working on the number 5. So approving the election of a chair and vice chair to serve from August 7th, 24 until June 30th, 25. And I think somebody from RTC has a list of people who had expressed an interest.
Yeah, so for this item, we're going to have the election of a chair and the vice chair. For the chair position, we have a Suting expressed the interest. So we're gonna ask if anybody else on the committee is interested in the position. And if you are, you can speak or raise your hand if your audio is not working. Oh yeah, we need to yeah, I saw the chat from Pana. We need to make a motion to approve the minutes first.
So that is somebody else needs to make the motion to approve, and then somebody else needs to second, and then we vote.
For the meeting minutes, yes, somebody needs to make a motion.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Sorry, Kelly Orr for the record.
And then I didn't catch who seconded.
That was me, Ryan.
Thank you. Perfect. Sorry, I heard you, but I did not see you.
Oh yeah, you're good.
Okay, and then we're voting. So ayes or yays?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh,
Hi.
you got everything. And nays? Excellent. Thank you for approving the minutes. You sound fine. Yep. No worries. Okay. So we're moving back to number 5. Was anybody interested in running for chair? Thank you. I appreciate your participation. I know you try hard to be here and read and listen carefully. So thank you.
So since Sue is the only person that expressed interest, so we'll just take a vote on Sue and see if everyone agree that Sue will be the chair for this term.
Feel like maybe Ryan, you should call this vote.
Sure. All right, let's go ahead and vote to make Sue Ching the chair of the CMAC board. What's the best way to vote for this? Should we just do verbal or?
Yeah, or just maybe raise your hand in chat, and then we'll see that.
Okay.
Aye.
So raise your hand.
All right.
I agree.
Yeah, Zoom just updated and everything got moved.
I think maybe more importantly, is anybody not raising their hand for the record? Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. So the next we will vote for the vice chair. We have one person showed interest, and that's Ryan, and we're gonna do the same process for the vice chair.
Okay, is anybody else interested in running who has not previously expressed interest? Okay, if you would like to raise your hand digitally and you click on participants and click on your own name, you can raise your hand virtually. But we'll go ahead and take a vote for Ryan to continue as vice chair.
Agree.
Agreed.
So yeah, thank you. We will take verbal, we will take digital hands, we'll take regular hands up.
Yep, I see a lot of hands, so I think we can move to the motion to approve.
Okay, thank you.
So Sutin, would you please do the motion, and then we need a motion and second to approve this item, and Sue and Ryan will be the chair and the vice chair for this item.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just to remove any conflict, if anybody can make the motion and second, so it's not me or Ryan.
No, go ahead.
Motions to approve the election of chair and vice chair to serve from August 7th to June 30th.
Then I'll
And
second.
then, thank you. And then all in favor, say aye.
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 Hi.
Any opposition, say nay or speak in the chat. Excellent. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Moving on to number 6, information and discussion items. We have 4 things that we will receive information on today. So as you're ready, you can go ahead and get started.
So the first item is going to be provide information and the advice regarding the construction, installation, maintenance of benches, shelters, and transit stops for RTC passengers. Sai with our transit department will be giving the presentation.
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Sai Sun, a transit planner with RTC. Today I'm presenting the bus stop amenities quarterly report, which covers April to July 2024. And we had a service change started from May 4th. So we have our schedules updated. And also we have a new stop on Route 13 at Linden Street and Harvard Way. And we removed 2 stops. The first one is West 4th after Ralston. It was removed because we got a lot of passenger complaints because the concrete cutout has been removed, probably by the city, and it has been replaced with rocks and landscaping. And passengers think they are in danger when they get on and off the bus. So we checked the ridership of the stop and also the stops nearby. So finally, we decided to remove this stop, and passengers are able to use stops on Washington or Arlington. And the other one is the West 8th and North Virginia, and it was come up and discussed at the CMAC meeting in April, and we decided to remove it. And we relocate 2 stops. One is the Virginia and Peckham. We move it several feet away from the parking lot entrance to ensure the safety for passengers and drivers. And the other one is McCarran after Mayan. The stop was in front of Truckee Meadows Water Authority's facility, and we found it's difficult for them to do maintenance and daily repair on site. So we move it a little bit. And also, we noticed that people are bringing shopping carts to this stop, laying the shopping carts down and sitting on them. So we are planning to put a bench there, but this is NDOT right of way. So we need to get their permission first and then put the bench there. So currently we are working on the application for bench installations, just to let you know. And also we got 5 shelters installed at the following locations. So a big thanks to our facility team because they need to do a lot of coordination in the process. They need to do the traffic control and get permit to shut down the lane during installation. And also, you know, the summer is really hot, which is also challenging for them. And we hope the shelters can make passenger trip more enjoyable. And 2 trash cans were installed at stops on McCarran, and also a bench was installed at Linden and Kiski. Daily maintenance and repair. We still got some vandalism this month. So our staff try to repair these stops as soon as possible. Then bus stops on Sami Drive have been improved as part of RTC's rehab project. The project is completed right now. So the bus stop at this location got a new bus stop pad, and we have put a bench there. Future improvements. We ordered new bus stop signs with text instructions for real-time bus arrival information because each of our bus stop has a unique bus stop number. So if you can text Reno and the number to 41411, you will get a real-time bus arrival time. And the new sign installation was completed. Also, a big thanks to Keely's maintenance team because they quickly installed the new signs for almost 700 bus stops in our region. And also we have new signs for our BRT stations. They have been delivered to RTC, and the electrician will complete the installation hopefully by the end of September. Yeah, this is what I got for today, and feel free to ask questions or provide comments. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Juan Martinez. Just asking because you mentioned earlier about a bus stop pad. I was just wondering what that is. Because I'm blind, so I can't see if there's signs or screens. Yeah.
It's the Linden and Harvard Way. It's a new stop on Route 13.
Thank
okay.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Damien.
Yeah. Yeah.
Golden Silverine.
Oh yeah. This construction. Yep. A lot of people are getting pissed because they have to stop at the next one. When I used to.
So normally, private developers are required to contact RTC if our bus stop is within their site. So, but we don't know what happened with this site. We are not notified about any changes. So, but the landscaping and rocks is already there, and we got complaints, so we have to remove it. And also, I checked the ridership is daily average is about 1 getting on or 0 getting on sometimes. So also we checked the nearby bus stops are within the walking distance from this bus stop. So we will recommend passengers to use bus stop on Washington or Arlington. Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. A lot of people like that stop.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for your comments.
Hey, Damien. This is Alex, Senior Transit Planner with RTC as well. Completely agree with your comments. The only thing I would say is that at this point, we have to be careful with the ADA as well. Um, with that stop, with those stones there, we can't really put down those ramps and follow like ADA as far as that side of it goes.
Oh,
So
so now we're good, guys.
yeah, so hopefully going forward, if it looks like it's something that we can fix, then obviously we can always go back, get some concrete in there, hopefully put that stop back in, and then kind of keep going from there. Uh,
Can do that.
I do think it's a little more complicated than moving it. Like
Yeah,
I think it takes time, but yeah.
yeah, if it's going 40, 50 feet in either direction, then most likely at that point there's stops close enough that it doesn't make sense to move it. But if it's going to stay in the exact same spot, then that's when we have to make sure that it's ADA accessible, because anytime a bus stop changes, we have to be sure that it's ADA accessible from day going forward. So they kind of, yeah, they kind of messed us up by getting those stones in there before we were ready, and so now we're kind of stuck reacting. And so I definitely agree. We probably should find out from the city exactly what happened and how we can fix it going forward as well.
Mm. Yeah.
You're right.
Mm. Wow. Nothing to say.
Michael, I think you have your hand up. Do you want to comment on this?
Yeah, I had a question slash comment on the slide about stops getting repairs. So, uh, the that stop in the middle almost looks like a car hit it. Is that what happened? And if it is there any plans to add safety measures like bollards or barriers to where, the next time a car crashes there, it's not going to hit someone waiting?
Yeah, that's a really good suggestion. We will take a look and put some bullet there.
Yeah, because that's kind of my nightmare scenario on some of these bus stops next to high-speed roads. What happens when someone has a tire blowout right while they're going past? So, if it took down a sign, it would take down a rider also.
Dang.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. This would be a westbound, I believe.
Westbound.
But Pana, I think you also have your hand up too, if you'd like to comment. That's okay. No, and I also agree with you, Damien. I ride 11 a lot, and yeah, I think it's strange to I understand why it's removed currently, because I understand that it's not safe, but it would be, I think, good to look into maybe putting concrete.
No,
Yeah.
should be the correct.
Yeah.
This is
Pana.
is
sorry.
from our facility team members.
And
Okay.
thank you for the presentation, Sai. All right, Pana, sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you. Thanks for doing all the work to maintain and upgrade the bus stops. And thanks for updating all the signs with the real-time arrivals. I've often wondered, I had previously tried to text what was on the sign and it didn't work, and this is great. I do just use Google Maps and it seems to know where the bus is, although I'm not sure it actually knows. So I guess that's a question, like, does Google Maps actually know where the bus is? And then I have a different, very quick question after that.
Hi, Pana. This is Alex again. So Google takes what is basically our GTFS real-time feed. So part of what our CAD AVL system does, which is through Vontis, is it's supposed to be kind of updating that GTFS feed in real time. It's usually, it is still at least 15 to 30 seconds delayed. But the bus positioning should be working correctly. This is still fairly new for us. It's probably maybe a year or so into being implemented. So they're still ironing out a few things of getting it working on every single bus correctly, and then having it update correctly on time. But that is what Google pulls from, is that Vontis real-time feed. It's also the same one that the Transit app should be using as well.
Okay, great. Well, that's great
As
to
a
know.
blind
And
person with a smartphone, how would you get that information? As a
The
sighted
poll,
person,
the
yeah,
poll.
yeah. How would you get that?
go ahead, Dora, we can hear you.
Hi, my name's Juan Martinez. As a blind person, to take a photo of the sign with an iPhone, how would that work? Would it read to me the schedule that's
That's something I'm not exactly positive of. I can find out though, because I see what you're saying as far as the knowing what stop you're at is going to be very difficult. So let me look into that, because I believe that should have to do with either using the Google Maps or the Transit app to know the stop, but I'll find out as well.
Those are Google Maps are not accessible. Then this is ADA, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, let me look into that, because as far as I know, they should be, at the very least, Transit app should be working on their ADA. So I'll verify that for you.
Just as a suggestion, Juan, would it be, I'm sure that you could probably use Siri to text the stop and number, but would it be nice if there was maybe Braille for the stop number itself?
Can you please repeat?
Sure. It looks like would the stop number in Braille be more helpful?
Raise numbers.
Raise numbers.
Raise numbers.
A question for you, this Mike May. Clarification, are we saying that right now there's a QR code on the sign that you trigger to get the real-time bus information?
No.
What are you pointing your phone at?
Yeah.
Does
It's
somebody know?
text message.
Yeah, the
But how do
QR code is to download the Transit app. The text message would be to text for the real-time bus arrival, knowing the stop and the location.
So you need to text the stop number to a particular text number, and then you get the real time.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
So I'm also blind, and I work in the accessible transportation and GPS field. And so with most OCR apps now, you could point it at the sign and get the number. It would so like with Scene AI one, you could point it at the stop and you could get the number. Not the most efficient way to do it, but if the does Reno have the transit app? Is that what we have here?
Yes.
Yeah, so the transit app's going to know your position and be able to sync it up with the bus stop number as well.
So once you have the app, do you just need to open it up while you're at that stop to get more information? And then is the app easy enough to navigate without being able to see it?
Yeah, most of them, I mean, work well with voiceover. I haven't tried it, so I'll try it and see how it works here.
Cool, thank you.
If I may go back to my other, well, now I have an extra question. I didn't realize the transit app was yet another app. Of course, accessibility should be paramount, but I guess one day in the future, if all of these things can be integrated, I would hope it would save RTC money so that you don't have to keep updating the signs and using different apps. And if Google is already almost correct, you know, I hope one day everything can just be more cost effective for RTC, I guess. If there can be a more accessible platform that's already out there that can be integrated with what RTC is already doing, because I have to stand at the bus stop with token transit ready, so I'm not going to be in a different app. But of course, I can use the sign and text the number, so I don't have an accessibility concern. So of course that should be paramount. But so that's one thing. I hope all these things can be integrated because I know it's expensive to update signs. I did want to ask, where can you remind us where the funding comes from for all of the transit stop upgrades? For the
You mean
whole
the
program,
shelters?
yeah, the shelters, the signs. Can you just remind us the source of?
We upgrade all the bus stop signs with the real-time text instructions, and we put 5 shelters in the past 3 months.
I just mean, who funds this is it does the funding come from the RTP, or does it come from?
I believe it's a combination of, sorry, this is Alex again. I believe it's a combination of federal grants and then RTC's local match. So I believe that's sales tax, the portion that funds transit.
And how specifically towards this project is that money earmarked for? Or if we could save money doing things slightly differently, would that money be available elsewhere?
Yeah, it's typically federal grants are usually something like, as far as capital improvements, something like 80-20. So 80% of that would be federal money, as long as we kind of put it in there that where it's going towards like bus stop improvements. And then that other 20% is that local match that RTC has to come up with, and that can be from any variety of local sources that they have. And then, yeah, as long as it's correctly earmarked in that federal grant saying, hey, we're going to use it for specifically bus shelters or bus improvements, things like that. That's the way it's kind of broken out. And then if there's always the opportunity to do, I guess, better as far as, you know, if we're a little more efficient with how we're setting up those costs, then, you know, it's the best way to kind of go about it. As far as that text marks aspect of it goes, those partially the reason that we still use that system is because there's still a lot of people that don't have smartphones. So transit and the Google Maps apps are just not a viable option, especially for people that prefer to stick with a non-smartphone, or if they just don't have internet connectivity on their phone. So that texting ability is a really easy way to kind of be aware of exactly where our buses are, and not have to rely on the schedule, especially if, for some reason that schedule's, beat up or got torn down or whatever reason. So that one, it's hard to say that it will be going away anytime soon, just because it is a kind of a necessary aspect of that, and making sure that everybody is accessible as far as when it comes to that part.
Thanks, Alex. I don't mean to say that you should get rid of it. I use the text too. I was just thinking aloud, like one day it would be great if you didn't have to keep replacing the signs. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mike, I want to clarify one other point if I could. There's two pieces of the puzzle for a blind person. One is certainly getting the real-time bus information from a QR code. If you can see where the sign is and you can see where the QR code is, it's easy to point your camera at that. You'd have to do a lot of fishing around and groping around if you're not super familiar with that stop in order to get your phone pointed in the right direction. So finding the bus stop is not always trivial. I know how many times there's lots of poles along the sidewalks, and some of them are stop signs and some of them are bus signs, and you don't know which one is which. So you could be pointing your phone at a lot of different signs. There is a system in some cities. I know San Antonio, Texas is one, and they use some barcode-like things, which are called NaviLens, and they can be picked up from 20, 30 feet away. So if I was running the NaviLens app and I was walking down the street with my phone out, that camera would pick it up and could guide me within, it'll say, 10 feet to your left, 8 feet, 7 feet. Within 6 inches of the place that you need to be. So longer term, that's probably one of the least expensive things to add that would actually help you find the bus stop, and then, of course, link you up to the real-time bus information. Well, you gotta, Damien, you'd have to find the pole to read the Braille, and maybe about 10% of blind people read Braille. So I think that's why Juan was saying raised letters, and it's also very expensive and it gets vandalized. Even in hotels, people scratch the room numbers off of the labels next to the doorway. So you think, Braille would be expensive to put in and to maintain. Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay, thank you for everybody's comments, especially Mike and Juan. As always, it's good to hear your input. Does anybody else have anything on this presentation?
Nicely done. I think my Zoom is back. We have 3 more presentations. So who's next? Sorry, I would call people more specifically, but I can't tell from the agenda who is presenting. We're on the same item number, and there were 4 items. We're on item number 2 of that agenda item. Perfect. You're here. We're ready.
Cool. Let me try my best here to share this screen. Okay, looks like it's working. All right. Hi, everyone. My name's Marquise Williams. I'm a planner here with RTC, and I'm here today to present the active transportation plan, which we're calling Walk and Roll Truckee Meadows. So some of you may have seen this presentation before. I've presented to CMAC twice, but we're wrapping it up. We're trying to finalize this, so apologies for any review, and we'll try to move quickly through the presentation and get to some good discussion. So this is
changes that, sorry, if there are changes that you've made for those of us who have seen this presentation before, it would be super helpful if you could point those out for us.
Definitely, yeah. We'll get to the meat and potatoes pretty quickly. So yeah, just a little bit of review. This is written to feed into the regional transportation plan, which you'll be receiving an update on later. That one's currently being updated. And we heard from the community and from our board that we could be doing better, and we can improve on how we implement active transportation throughout the region. So this plan is focused on implementation and then quickly really with the goal of utilization. So getting people out there using the network. So like I said, it's been supported by the community and by the board. We've done a number of engagement efforts. These were about a year ago at this point. The survey itself, you can see on the right the comment map that we did. The survey was 2 parts. We had a community-wide survey that got 442 responses, as well as a Washoe County School District survey that went to parents and students that got 788 responses, and both of those survey takers were invited to leave comments on the comment map. We also had a couple of in-person and virtual meetings. At this one in the picture was at the Senior Center, and we've presented to this committee, our technical advisory committee, and also at our board retreat. So the RTC board has kind of heard about this approach already. So while we were doing data collection, while we were doing public outreach, we were also doing data collection and analysis. So we looked at these 5 main components. So with demographics, we wanted to see where are our underserved communities, whether it's income, education, access to bike networks, etc. We wanted to have a map of where those places are. We wanted to take a look at our current facilities. So what sidewalks and crosswalks do we currently have? What does our current bike network look like? And then we wanted to take that a step further. So network comfort, that's beyond just whether there is a bike lane, is it a safe bike lane? If there's a sidewalk, is it a good sidewalk? Is it an inviting sidewalk? So we have a couple of metrics. We have the pedestrian experience index, along with the bicycle level of traffic stress. So a lower score, a lower stress level for the level of traffic stress indicates a more comfortable experience. On the map, the orange is the section, or are the sections that we could improve. We also looked into safety and crash history. So this is a map of our high injury network. These will all be overlaid. And so this, if we can improve, active transportation infrastructure on these corridors and intersections, that'll be good for everyone. And then finally, we looked at mode shift potential. So that's our active trip potential, and that's where we take the land use. So if there are a lot of residents, if there are a lot of grocery stores and parks and schools, we can anticipate that more people are likely to take transit or to take active transportation trips. So we then compiled all of these factors and distilled it into a primary active transportation gaps map. So taking everything we just discussed and putting it on a map. These are the map on the right shows the areas or the corridors that really stood out as hotspots through our analysis. So how do we address those hotspots? Well, that's where the neighborhood planning process comes in. So we are looking to pivot from a corridor-based approach and a regional approach to a neighborhood approach. And the reason for that is because active transportation trips are mostly taken at a human scale. So a cyclist, you can expect them to ride about 3 miles before it gets a little hard to pallet. For the pedestrian, 1 mile or less is really the trip you're looking at. So traditionally, when we're comparing a trip from Spanish Springs, or we're looking at connecting Spanish Springs to downtown Reno, those aren't as strong candidates for utilization as if we say, ride from your house to the grocery store or ride from your home to your high school. So this approach also allows us to do more targeted outreach. People are more likely to participate when they know that the planning effort directly impacts their neighborhood and their community. And it allows us to program and plan our projects more directed to a certain neighborhood. So with that, these are the 12 neighborhoods that we came up with. So we have 12 neighborhood areas. And the plan is to hit to develop a neighborhood network plan for all 12 of these areas within 5 years. Once those plans are developed, we want to roll right into implementation. So as we complete one plan, we'll move into the next plan. Implementation, the projects identified in these plans could be quick build opportunities. They could be bigger, larger scale projects that we get federal grants, discretionary grants for, et cetera. And we never want to work in a vacuum. So we do have an active transportation technical working group comprised of government officials, so staff from Reno, Sparks, and Washoe County, to make sure that we're doing things in lockstep with the agencies. So I guess the first question is, or the big question from this map would be who gets to go first? And again, this was a data-driven approach. So using those 5 metrics, that gap analysis that we discussed earlier, a few neighborhoods came to the top, and here they are. So Midtown Reno, Central Sparks, which really aren't too surprising. When you consider that active trip potential, when you consider where you're likely to get riders, you would expect that these central core areas have the greatest opportunity and need, and it's reflected in the data. So that composite score in the table includes safety, equity, and active trip potential. And you can see that Sun Valley is a close third there. So we're gonna, like I said, try to hit all of these neighborhoods in 5 years and move right down this list. So the way that these are funded The plans themselves, these neighborhood network plans, are funded through planning UPWP funds. As we complete the neighborhood plans, we will be looking to figure out the funding, how to have the most flexible funding and the fastest available funding and the most strategic funding for implementation. So we're currently working to approve this ATP, and we're looking to bring on a consultant to help us with the first neighborhood plans. And once we have those parts in place, we can work towards identifying and aligning multiple funding strategies as shown here. So like I said before, we're not working in a vacuum. We have the active Transportation Technical Working Group. So that's our jurisdictional partners, our agency staff. We're going to be communicating with the board, the RTC board, regularly. And when we communicate to the RTC board, we come to this body and our technical advisory committee as well. And then for each neighborhood plan, we do plan on having a neighborhood area coalition. So that would include the first responders, teachers, council members, business owners, residents, people who are intimately familiar with their neighborhood and can provide context that, that we might not know at a agency level. So to conclude, this active transportation plan is here to establish a neighborhood network planning process, as well as an active transportation program. So we want to, we hear you. We know that we can improve active transportation options and connectivity. We want to do that at a neighborhood level. We want to get the community engaged and provide what education opportunities we can. And then, like I said at the beginning, this is an implementation utilization driven plan. So we want to streamline planning, design, and implementation to roll these things out and get better bike and pedestrian amenities on the ground as fast as possible. So with that, happy to take questions and get the conversation going.
Damien, do you want to go first?
So the technical working group is going to be a staff for an agency specific group. Where you definitely can look to get involved are those neighborhood coalitions. So as we do each neighborhood plan, we're looking into, getting local stakeholders involved. So that is probably number one. It's the most involved on the ground way to participate, and it's open to the public. Application. Maybe.
So I guess maybe the question here is there a specific job that one should apply for if they want to be involved with this, or is it anybody who is on RTC staff could participate? Yeah, but we want you to apply for the right job, right? Like the job has to get you there.
RTCwashoe.com, bottom of the page, there's a careers or a jobs button. I believe there might be a planning opening posted there right now. Yeah. But I will reiterate that the vision for this process is that a lot of the decision making will be made, or a lot of the input for recommendations in that local context. That's a discussion to be had at the neighborhood stakeholder coalition meeting. So really, I'd encourage people in this body, you know, Damien, I know you have the network in mind, and you know it's really great. So please, yeah, make sure to participate. We want as much public participation in these plans as possible because that's what makes a reflection of the community.
So Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, so the neighborhood boundaries were based on our several factors. Most of which, I guess, to address one thing, these are meant to be fat lines, so the boundaries are not set in stone. They're not down to a specific street. They were made to reflect generally where people could be expected to go and where the majority of trips happen. So we have our TAZs, so we can see you know, how many trips go between small areas throughout the region. And so using those, we put together these rough outlines of neighborhoods, but we do acknowledge there will be some overlap, and you know, you're not going to see, we're going to try to avoid cutting off an improvement because we hit a certain neighborhood boundary. Yeah.
What is the best way to find where you're at with this project? So I'm Googling poorly, or I just need help finding the project page. Because when I Google RTC Washoe Active Transportation Plan Walk and Roll, there's like news articles I can read about it, but I'm just wondering how to find like which neighborhood you're working on and which neighborhoods group you're recruiting for and which one's coming up next.
Yes, so we are in the process now of onboarding a consultant. A major part of this, rolling out this program, will be the outreach component. So we are working both with the consultant and internally with our communications team to fine tune exactly that and make this as easy as possible. Salt Lake City has a great example or a great template that we're looking to draw from, where they have their neighborhood program, and then they have a web page for each neighborhood plan effort. So that's something we're definitely looking to mirror with this process. So stay tuned.
Okay, perfect. And when that is ready, even if you're not presenting, if you could like put it in the pipeline so that it gets in our packet so that we could click on that link, that would be great.
Definitely.
Thank you. I can't tell what order we're in, so Ryan, go ahead, and then we'll go to the next one.
Okay, I'll let Panal go first. I think she's first.
Okay.
Thanks, Marquise. This is very exciting. I think I heard you say at the end, active transportation means bike and pedestrian. Is that correct?
We're calling it walk and roll. So this is meant to be every form of transportation outside of the vehicle. So you know, if I do say bike and ped, it's for convenience, but definitely not looking to exclude any other modes.
Okay, but it doesn't include riding a bus, for example.
The first mile, last mile connection. So once you get off that bus, now you're a pedestrian or a cyclist. So to that end, we will be working with transit operations, definitely as part of this neighborhood planning process to make sure we're tying into the network properly.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just wanted to refresh myself on what your scope is, because I realized I didn't remember what active transportation meant as you were talking. A couple questions. First, I think the last time you presented, we had made some comments about outreach, and I'm glad to hear you're going to be doing a lot of work on that. Is any of the outreach that you presented today new from last time, or is it the same outreach that was already done as of the last presentation?
This is the same outreach we have. I guess the main update is that this has been reviewed by Reno, Sparks, and Washoe County staff, and thoroughly reviewed. They found some typos and everything. So yeah, so it has been reviewed by them. And there is now a link on, I believe it's rtcwashoe.com/ATP, but I can get that link after this presentation, and you guys please feel free to review. It's out there. Yeah.
Great. Okay, well, I guess as you go forward, and I know I talk about this often, I want to encourage you again to do really broad outreach, multilingual outreach that goes beyond websites. I've noticed RTC doesn't have a lot of social media presence. I'm not a great social media person myself. I do share things on Nextdoor from RTC when there's an input opportunity, but let's see, what's Graham saying? Oh, Graham's got that link. Yeah. So I encourage you to target places, even like physical flyers in the libraries. I think we've talked about that before. Flyers at buildings where people rent. Renters are a really important demographic that consistently get left out of all these planning initiatives everywhere. That's a universal problem. I know that Graham had reached out to a ward neighborhood association for the South Meadows plan. We do have a lot of homeowners associations in Reno that have direct email access to so many people. I know Ann Silver has offered the Chamber of Commerce as a means of outreach. I really encourage you to go beyond websites in English and homeowners and people who already have some kind of established presence, like business owners or like officials, people with official jobs. I'm sure you're already planning to do that, but I wanted to name all of those so that you can hand them to your consultant and, send them to every library. Get them printing flyers in every language that's commonly spoken in Reno, and get a team of volunteers to distribute them. I myself have volunteered for that in the past in other places. There will be people who are happy to help you, myself included. So that's one note. Another question, and then I guess two quick questions. Did you take into account traffic data at all? Will this plan have a role in hopefully reducing single occupancy vehicle trips?
So I don't believe that level of service was any of the metrics that we used. It's definitely something that we acknowledge that, this is a real way to reduce congestion. If people feel comfortable biking and they don't feel like, they're putting their life on the line in some cases to get from point A to point B, they hopefully will consider a bike trip, or a walk. So while we didn't use that data, I think it's definitely something that we're including in the plan, that this is a congestion management mitigation.
Okay, great. And of course, buses are a great place to put flyers as well, just going back to the last thing. Okay, and then the last quick question / note. I know I've already had an offline conversation about this with you, but there are a lot of connectivity challenges that involve different types of land ownership. So I know I've shared with you that at the very large shopping center at South Meadows and Double R, where there's a Smith's, and I mean, it's a huge shopping center. There's actually no permanent bike rack. And I know RTC doesn't have authority to mandate a bike rack. So I guess I really encourage you, especially through the technical working group, since it has the cross-governmental collaboration, to find and fill those gaps in jurisdiction. We've also talked about it here in the committee, like, why is only the bare minimum amount of sidewalk provided at some of these major shopping centers that present such an impediment to non-car use? So just wanted to bring that up again, plant that seed again, and ask that you continue to focus on those gaps where land ownership and jurisdiction pose a superficial obstacle that could be addressed with enough collaboration. Thanks for all your work.
Yeah, thank you for those comments. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much, Marquis, for the presentation, of course, and always thanks for your work. I think on this slide, on the next one, it transitions between number labels and name labels for the districts. I think just in a future presentation, could you just kind of combine those? And then beyond that, I think just in the interest of time, we have about 20 minutes left to finish by 7. Does anybody else have any comments on this one? We have 2 more agenda items remaining.
Hello, Mr. Markey. This is Juan Martinez. I was wondering if we can get together on Friday, because I don't no clue what you're saying or showing there because I can't see.
Sure. Let me, can I reach out after the meeting and try to schedule something?
Of course.
Yeah, more than happy.
What?
Thank you for the link, Graham.
Yeah, sorry. If you navigate there manually, it takes you to a different page. So I've put in a request to have that link updated on our website, but provided the direct link in the chat.
Thank you. Well, perfect timing. Graham, you're up next. I found the names. They're further down. They weren't where I was looking, but I got you. You're next. What are you going to tell us about today?
Great. So
also, thank you, Marquise. Sorry. Big thanks. That was lovely. It's always nice to know, and I love the neighborhoods. Thank you.
All right. So let's see. Try this again. All right. Let's see. Try this. Sorry, give me 1 second here real quick. Actually, do you mind if we take this out of order and do the RTP first, the RTP presentation? Shwen, would you mind doing that?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, thank you.
It's okay with it. All right, I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen okay?
Yep.
All right, so this is a presentation about the regional transportation plan update. I've given a presentation before for the regional transportation plan update. Here is a kind of a overview of the timeline. So basically, we started the project in fall of 2023. and we're aiming for spring of 2025 for the adoption of this plan. So this is basically the long-range transportation plan, looking at minimum 20 years and identify goals and objectives in terms of transportation in our region, and identify projects to be implemented in the future. Since last update and right now, we completed a lot of engagement to the public and also to the partner agencies. So we completed an online survey, and also we had numerous meetings with our stakeholders and agency partners. So the engagement, the purpose is to have a broad-reaching early stakeholder and community engagement, and also gain input on current and future state of the transportation system, and also understand the concerns in the community. So the information we got from the engagement will be used to inform decision makings and also to develop RTP goals. And we also had a geographic tool to have people place markers on an interactive map and show where they think there are problems in transportation, and let us know if they see any areas that need improvement. So through the engagement, we had 473 people took the online survey and received 1,782 comments. And these were analyzed for the purpose of the RTP. And then we also gave presentation to 3 government board presentations. And we also included 21 different agencies in our agency working group. So that's another series of meetings we had with them, and to update them about the project progress, and also get input and the comments from this agency working group. So we did a lot of efforts to push for the outreach. We had different methods, from social media posts to e-news blasts, and also interviews on TV streaming, and also different senior events, CAB meetings, and the news station stories and the press release. So through the engagement, we kind of summarized into these top themes. People are concerned about the regional planning and the coordination, and the major themes are regional planning and coordination should address the impact of growth and development. And also people are seeing the strain of new developments on existing infrastructure and the public services. And we also have people talk about public transit and how it requested expanding and enhance the current public transit options, and also commented on the connection from the airport to the roadway transportation. So how to connect to transit or shuttles and get to destinations from the airport. And also people expressed interest in expanding the ride share options, and also carpool lanes and park and ride facilities. For bike and pedestrian safety and traffic, the priority areas are the Sun Valley area and also the Truckee River corridor. And the main themes are people are requesting protected bike lanes, sidewalks, and crosswalks. There's also a huge interest in the environmental sustainability, talking about reducing vehicle miles traveled, improving resident health, and also transportation system resiliency during severe weather events, especially when there's a storm, there's a icy and the snow conditions, how our roadway system can handle that. So for the geographic analysis, we had some directions from our board to point out the areas that need improvement. And we also have the online survey results where people place markers on the map to show where the areas of concerns. And then you can see there's a good overlapping of the two maps. So using the input from our agency stakeholders and from the public, combined with the current 2050 RTP goals and the national goals and the factors, we developed the 2050 RTP update goals. So these are the 9 goals we're going to include in the RTP, from safety to infrastructure condition, system reliability and the resiliency. This is how reliable our system is and how the system can withstand severe weather or climate change events. And also people, we also have the accessibility and mobility. This is related to the transit, congestion reduction, freight movement and economic vitality, environmental sustainability, reduce project delivery delays, and also land use and economic development. So from the 9 goals, so the goals are more higher level. So from these goals, we develop objectives, which are more specific and easy to measure and identify. We develop those specific objectives. These are the things we're working on right now. And from the objectives, we identify evaluation factors to evaluate projects for the future. So these are going to be used to measure how these objectives are achieved and how to evaluate projects based on these measures. So currently in our RTP, this is available on our website under Planning Long-Range Transportation Plan. You can download. We have a current 2050 RTP. And since we're working on the update, so we'll combine the projects for the future in the current RTP with the recommendations from the post-RTP planning studies. So after the current RTP was adopted, we had 3 different planning studies. We did one in Verdi and also the Montrose Highway and the McCarran Boulevard. So all the recommended improvements from these studies will be combined with the projects in the existing RTP and use that as a starting point to evaluate how we are going to implement these projects for the future plan. And we're also waiting for some feedback and comments from our jurisdiction partners and stakeholders, and to maybe add additional projects to the listing for the future. So these are the next steps. Like I said, we're gonna receive new project recommendations and then use a tool called the travel demand model to analyze the future demand based on land use change and proposed improvements to look at future traffic volumes and all the data we need for the planning purposes, and also develop a prioritization framework to evaluate any projects that will be in the RTP update. And then we're also working on developing the RTP chapters to lay out the how the RTP information will be available for the public, and then once it's ready, will be available on our website. So with that, that's kind of a brief overview of the RTP, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I think that with our time, I'm wondering if we should view Graham's presentation. And then I know all of your emails are available for people to ask questions. And if people from this committee were to ask questions, is it possible to add that to the minutes somehow of like conversations that happened from
Yeah,
this meeting,
yeah.
but not necessarily during this meeting. Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, send the comments to me and copy Lolita, and we'll be adding those comments and answers, questions and answers to the meeting minutes.
Perfect, thank you so much. Graham, did you get it figured out?
Yeah, sorry about that. Let me do a quick share and try to run through this really quick. You guys seeing that okay?
I don't see it yet.
No? Okay, let's see. How about there?
Better.
Does that work? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so I'll try to, like I said, fly through this pretty quickly. I'll be presenting the regional freight plan. Similar to the active transportation plan, it is in draft form. We're just kind of incorporating final comments and last minute touch-up changes before a formal adoption. Oops, sorry. So the planning process really kind of kicked off early in the fall of 2023 and began with existing conditions analysis that was then used to kind of spark the conversations with the stakeholder working group and also individual partner agencies. This part of the process helped to establish the vision and goals that set the stage for the rest of the plan. So with the help of the stakeholder working group, a vision statement for regional freight was established, which is to foster a thriving and diverse economy in Northern Nevada through safe and efficient transportation infrastructure. And then building off this vision, the group also helped shape a series of goals, which is then used to align recommended improvements to transportation infrastructure and services. So they also, the working groups and other stakeholders also help to establish the goals, which are generally to improve safety, multimodal integration, efficiency of freight movement and truck parking, while also providing for equity and sustainability in freight movement. And so to kind of explain what those goals mean in the context of freight, improve safety. The focus on improving safety would obviously be to reduce truck-involved crashes on freeways and regional roads. But efforts made to improve truck safety will also typically improve safety for all travelers. Regarding multimodal integration, about a quarter of freight activity in Northern Nevada uses multiple modes, meaning planning for transfers between trucking, rail, and aviation is critical. Improving efficiency of freight movement means reducing travel delays and improving travel time reliability. And this can be accomplished through strategies such as traffic signal optimization, targeted capacity improvements, improved connections to freeways, and then more and enhanced truck routes. Freight may have impacts on neighborhoods and the environment that are different from other types of transportation. So potential impacts resulting from noise, air quality, and safety are of particular concern in traditionally underserved areas. So in general, the goals surrounding equity and sustainability can be accomplished through strategies such as minimizing impacts to underserved neighborhoods, supporting a resilient transportation system, and other similar efforts. And then finally, the issue of limited truck parking was a common theme across the region and is really compounded when winter weather creates closures over the pass on I-80 or other routes. This issue can be mitigated through advanced communication during closures, expanded truck parking, and improved delivery parking. So as I mentioned, a review of existing conditions and several analyses went into informing the plan and its recommendations. Data related to commodity flows, gaps in truck parking, regional land use, and existing plans, facilities, and infrastructure were all important considerations as the plan was developed. Perhaps more importantly, data on truck safety, travel time, reliability, pavement conditions, and utilization were assessed to determine priority of freight corridors or determine priority freight corridors. These corridors factored into the recommendations to address freight mobility needs, such as improving safety measures and efficiency of freight movement. And these recommendations, which I'll cover in more detail in the following slides, are designed to not only improve the efficiency and reliability of freight transportation, but also to support broader goals of economic development, environmental sustainability, and quality of life for area residents. So to improve safety, the plan relies heavily on those priority freight corridors that I just mentioned. I-80 is a top priority as it has the highest concentration of truck-involved crashes in the region, with the area around the East McCarran interchange being the single highest concentration. We also heard from our working group that maintaining rail spur access was critical to multimodal integration and the overall success of freight movement. We also heard that providing a better link between air and surface modes can greatly enhance the flow of freight and passengers. The Reno Tahoe Airport Authority needs to expand freight capacity, and planning for this potential influx of air freight will be essential in the overall success of freight. The priority freight corridors were also used to a larger extent in establishing projects that meet the goal of enhancing efficiency of freight movement. General improvements to the transportation network as a whole, such as signal timing upgrades and a regional traffic operations center, will also work to improve the efficiency of freight. Additionally, efficiency could be improved through the use of a freight advisory committee that would further improve coordination on freight planning and other initiatives. And then incorporating equity and sustainability in freight movement should consider improvements to the first mile, last mile deliveries, but maybe more importantly, improvement to workforce access. And this can be done through improvements to the transit system, as well as multimodal infrastructure like sidewalks and bicycle facilities. And then finally, there are several strategies that could help expand truck parking or improve the parking situation, such as NDOT's truck parking availability system, which notifies truck drivers of where parking is available before they get there. There can also be efficiencies through shared parking areas or requirements for industrial facilities to include truck parking in their site development. Allowing curbside truck parking is usually most important for owner-operators who typically do not have another option for overnight parking, but it'll be important to consider potential conflicts with bicycle facilities when including on-street parking options. So as we wrap up this process, our next steps involve presenting to our advisory committees, which we are doing now, and then obviously the board. We've already been working on incorporating comments on the draft plan, but we'll plan to wrap those up sometime after the board meeting in anticipation of a formal adoption in September. So with that, I'll take any questions, and I'm free through email as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Burning questions were a minute over, so you'd have to talk backwards in time. This is mostly so I can pull up my agenda again. Thank you, Graham, for your presentation. Next on the agenda is RTC staff announcements. And then there's another opportunity for public comment before we adjourn. Are there any staff announcements?
So I have one. Good evening, everybody. My name's Vanessa Lacer, and I just started with RTC 3 weeks ago as the new planning director. So just wanted to take this opportunity to introduce myself and say that I'm looking forward to working with this committee.
Welcome.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Sweet. Any other staff announcements? Okay, any public comments? Committee members may speak during public comment. Okay, barring none, or hearing none, any motion for adjournment?
This is Brian. I second.
Excellent. Damien motioned and Ryan seconded. It's always a race to see whose mic is on first. Any objection to adjourning our meeting? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Excellent job, everyone. We'll see you next month.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.